How's it going, guys? So we're working back in the E39 today. Basically, we're just taking the valve cover off. Yesterday we had some snow and couldn't do anything. It wasn't so much that the snow was very much, it was that it was cold and windy. So I used that day to go ahead and run a bunch of errands and do a bunch of other stuff. You can see right now, we've done videos on this before. We'll go ahead and do a little bit of a video on it today. We pulled the air box off of this. We pulled the vanity cover. There's two bolts, two nuts on that. And that pulls the vanity cover off. And we're just going through, we're zipping all the coil packs out. Using our little battery impact to disassemble. Except don't drop it like that. It's alright. We're looking for oil, a little bit of oil on number 1. A little bit on number 2. And John said he's having oil problems before, a tiny bit on 3. I forgot the bolt. This is overall a pretty easy job. Tiny bit on 4. Everything has just a little bit in it, and that's telltale signs that somebody, whoever did this last, didn't use sealer on it, and that's what you get. You get everything seeping and dripping just a little bit. All the coil packs physically look good. Now what we're gonna have to do, we're gonna take some carburetor cleaner and we're gonna clean all these boots and everything off, and we'll take WD-40 at the very end. Get a little squirt down the side and use that WD-40 to clean any white arcing we see off around the edge here. Pretty much any of the Bremy coils we have to do that with. Let me grab an 8mm. So we have a couple 8mm that hold the wires on. This wire here, and there's some ground straps in here. And then we're just gonna zip the outside parameter bolts off, and pull this wiring harness off. It just pulls up and out. I have to get my pry bar and pop it out of place. Careful not to crack the valve cover. So on these, you never want to use very much force. It should pop pretty easy. Alright, there we go. Take that one wire off, we'll be right back. Alright, we're back. We've got our 8mm here. We have a guy coming to look at, be careful pulling that out so you don't twist the wire up. The guy coming to look at our 528, the 98 528, coming from the next town over, be here in a couple hours. Supposedly his dad knows how to work on BMWs and Volkswagens and stuff. It seemed like he didn't really know too much about it. I almost didn't want to sell it to him because I didn't want to have to deal with it, but since he said his dad could work on stuff, then it's not such a bad deal. They're really good cars, but you gotta at least know how to do a little bit of something. Definitely not a good car for a teenage girl, or you know, somebody that's more book smart and not mechanically inclined, because then you're down to having to pay a shop to do every little thing, and that don't work out. I don't like selling cars to people like that, if they're that way, because you know, I wouldn't be able to afford to take it to a shop for every little thing. You'd have 10 grand in the thing in 1 year. Holy. Somebody's got that inside bolts way too tight. Let me put you on time lapse. I don't know what's going on with this. This one down here, it's either the wrong bolt or it's totally stripped out, but that 10mm won't even fit on it anymore. Even, you know, say I had the 6-point, not even a 12-point. Wouldn't do nothing. All the rest of them came out. The middle ones are so tight the little impact won't remove them. These are only supposed to be torqued at 7 foot-pounds. 10 is like the absolute max if you have a bunch of extensions on your torque wrench. That's pretty scary. So let me see if I can get the needle vice grips down there, clamp on the head, and break it loose. But even with you can't even finger it out. It's so stripped out. I'm not sure what the hell's going on there. I don't know, look at this. All those center bolts were so tight you couldn't get them out, but listen. It's so hard, just like steel. I can't even get the back one out of there. I'll have to wait till we get the cover off and then try to pull it out. So they're all out except for this front one. We still got to take the vice grips and try to loosen up. That one on the bottom that's stripped out. Isn't that crazy? That one's, no, it doesn't have a crack in it. It's just hard to steal. So this thing's definitely overdue. Usually when they're like that, they got probably, I don't know, 70 to 100,000 miles on it. And that's way too long. What's weird, it wasn't hard up in the front, which they could replace the gasket, but not the little things on the bolts. So let's grab our Nealon's vice grips, and we're going to try to clamp it down. We'll take one from the bowl here and let's size it up. That's about right. We're not going to be reusing this for sure. What we're trying to do right now is just physically extract it, we'll clamp it as tight as we can, rock it back and forth. It just slips off. Man, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, John, if you're watching this, I mean, hold on a second. What the hell's this thing doing? There we go. John, if you're watching this, I told you this would be easy, but you would have had a real pain in the ass with this one, especially with that bolt. So yeah, I'm glad we are doing it here, because I'd rather have me have the pain in the ass than you, for sure. Wow. And it's ultra tight. Let me grab some stubby nose vice grips, see if we can get that on there. If we can't, we're gonna have to take probably a standard size socket that's a hair smaller, take the hammer and drive it on there to get it out. Alright, so let's go and try these guys. Let's grab a bolt out of our bowl here, and that's gonna let us size it up. It's kind of a bad spot to get to. And when you do this, you got to make sure your vice grips are pretty new, because the first thing to go are the teeth on them. And once the teeth wear out on them, they're pretty much junk. No, no way. It's way too tight for that. Let me match a socket up to it, and we'll see if we get it out like that, hopefully. All right, and you saw me do this a few videos ago on the transmission pan bolts in E46. I think I posted that video. Maybe I didn't post that yet. I can't remember. We're going to try to use a 3/8, but a 12.3/8, and drive it over the head with our hammer. Don't get too crazy with it. Let's see if that's enough of a bite. Good God. Man, this might be a problem. I had a lot of force on it, and it's not coming off. It's not good. Don't like hitting too much of my extensions, because it does mushroom the head of them out. But in this case, what are you gonna do? There we go, finally. Man, what a pain in the ass. Now before you take it out, you want to unscrew it a little bit where it's loose, and you want to make sure and get your socket off. If you take it out in the socket, still be stuck in there. So hopefully we get it by hand, which we cannot. So let's just push this back on there. There we go. Definitely not reusing this bolt. Get it close. That's pretty much a fail-safe trick. And transmission pan bolts are notorious for stripping out. And they only strip out because somebody put them on too tight before. And the little torque set just don't hold it. There's our bolt. It's chewed up. Some of it from us, but some of them is already just terribly chewed up. Put that off to the side. Make sure not to put that guy back in. Actually, while we're thinking about it, I'll put him right there. So there's no chance of accidentally putting it back in. So now our valve cover is ready to pull. And if you see me use this guy for the very back corner bolt, that's our impact universal, and it has a limited amount of range. You could use it even on the big impact and it won't hurt it. You could buy those at the auto parts store or eBay for, I don't know, like $5 to $10. And let's just go ahead and grab it up here, give it a wiggle. Yeah. Now you'd be very careful. This bolt here is just fingered in there. It's not actually stuck in there. Let's go ahead and pull that washer out, because you don't want the rubber or the metal washer falling down your spark plug hole or your engine. If I could even get that rubber even out of there. There we go. Alright, so we don't want to break it at this point. Let's go ahead and grab it up top. Man, it's like, this would have been John's absolute worst nightmare to have this. Now, we can't go in and pry it because we're going to break that plastic cover. We can't really use a rubber mallet. It's just chance of breaking that cover is so great if you use anything on it. Hopefully, we can break it loose. I just grab them by this port, just wiggle them back and forth, not hard. Man, I don't know if somebody has it glued or the gasket's that old or what in the hell. I mean, we're gonna have to do something. We have another cover here. If we break it, it's not the end of the world, but I don't want to pry against nothing else at all. It's a very scary situation prying anything off on this. I tried to at least get it loosen up a little bit. Scary, man. Real scary. Alright, let's hope like hell we didn't break it. It all popped loose all at once. Be so careful. And that gasket's just hard as freaking steel too. It's not chipping out in chunks, but it's definitely hard. Alright, let's go and get the gasket out of the way. Somebody, not us, has already broken the corner. Oh shit. Somebody's already broken the whole bottom off of it. And it wasn't us, because it's not laying down there. Let's put it up here out of the way. Let's do some inspection here and see. Nope. It was not us, friends. And I guess they did that trying to pry it on the bottom corner over there. But it's actually broke into that guy. I just don't know if that's going to seal or not. I really don't think that will. Get her in the sunlight here. You're going to check for cracks for it in it too. But look how nasty that oil is. So somebody before John had it has not changed the oil in a very long time. Let me go ahead and stop this. Yeah, look at the goo in there. Let's see if I get these out without snapping them off. Man, what a disaster. Hear it crunching. I'm taking it off. nasty. And this thing, there you go. That's about how brittle it is. Go on, chuck that off to the side. And I mean, truth be told, this car should have vandal seals done on it, but we don't have those. I don't know. It cold started good for me, but the telltale signs of vandal seals going out is rough cold start. Clearly, they haven't been done within a reasonable amount of time. I'll probably go ahead and just stop right here. We're going to call John and see what he says. All right, guys, so we're pretty much at a stopping point. The valve cover, let me show you here. Valve cover has a nice big crack right there. That is cylinder number 3. Usually they're cracked back here too, but I don't really see anything on either side back there. Let me flip it and look. Yeah, usually it's on the face. It could be right in here, it could be right in there. I don't really see anything at all. But you can see up here at number 3 where the crack was, you can see there's oil up in there. There's a whole bunch right there. So probably, well, that could be from somebody spilling it too, but probably, I'm sorry, usually it's cracked over here. It could possibly cracked on number 1 too, but it has so much goo around it you just can't see it. So we have another valve cover. We'll make an extraordinarily good deal on it. That's not cracked, and then we're gonna go and do vandal seals because I told them, it's like, man, we're right here. It's only like 6 bolts. Take it off. The fan shroud's out. The cover's off. We're right there to it. We could do it so fast. You know, it's done right if we do it here. If you guys to pay a shop in the future to pull all this stuff back off and put those in, if they even do it right, and if they move the cams when the vandals is off, they got to retime it. They're not going to have tools to retime it. They're not going to know how to retime it. And if they do, they're going to charge them the price that you don't want to pay. So they're 24 bucks for the Viton ones. He already ordered them. They're on the way here. Be here in a few days. So this car is at a standstill. We're going to go and pull the tools up. Now we are going to put the valve cover back on. We're not going to bolt it down. We're going to set it back on and put the vanity cover on it, because E39, if it rains, you could possibly get water down the engine. So we're going to go and set it back on there, and we'll probably put the filter housing back in and make sure the hood is latched. Don't leave the hood up a little bit. It will run right down the back of this hood, right on the vanity cover, down the bow hole, and right down the engine. So we're about to go meet this guy to look at this 528. Hopefully it's sold out of my hair. And then tomorrow is Monday. We're probably going to go get Chris's car for the rack and pinion job. We'll see what the weather does. It's maybe supposed to snow or rain tomorrow. I'm not sure. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's all for today's video. Pretty quick video. Valve cover nightmare, I guess is what we'll call this. That's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.